Last week, if you recall very well, we were discussing about the scientific miracles of Quran. And we mentioned, I think, 3 points, if I'm not mistaken. Scientific miracles of Quran. Today, inshallah, tonight, we will conclude with that and enter into a new discussion altogether. Inshallah. Who can tell me what did we say about the scientific miracle of Quran? What did you say about the scientific miracle of Quran? Who can tell me? Yes, Hajj Ahmed.
It helps to solve some of the problems.
Yeah.
Scientifically, for example, the earth, the moon.
What? Quran does what?
It helps solve some of the doesn't help problems.
It doesn't. It's not prescribed to solve.
We discussed in the first place, and even some of the brothers and sisters asked me a question afterwards, that Quran is not claiming to solve any scientific problem. What do we mean by that? It's like today you tell me how to make a camera. Make it from Quran. Can you show me in a Quran where how to make camera is explained? No. Operation, is there any place in Quran where Quran teaches you how to make operation? Yes, we have a temple, A'imma, where you see the medical treatment of Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salatu salam, where some of the verses of Quran are used for cure. But when we talk of scientific problems, we're talking of the problems that we are faced today in our lives. There is no place in Quran where Quran teaches you how to make a gun.
Yeah. To kill someone.
Or how to make a television. There is no place in Quran. So we as Muslims, we don't claim that. What we say is Quran serves as a guide. It guides you in each and every facet of life. There is not a place in our life that Quran does not provide us with guidance. And then we went ahead to outline some of the scientific principles that the scientists are boasting of when we said Quran also predicted it many years ago during the lifetime of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Now, who can tell me from the gentlemen one scientific principle that Quran predicted? Yes, Amir.
One of them was the gravity.
Yeah.
We said it is a universal force that attracts objects in the universe.
Yeah.
And then the problem, as in the Quran says that the force of gravity, like the Almighty has placed the heavens and the earth without any pillars.
Without any pillar, without anything to see, is adjusting this to that, is attaching that to that. So gravity is a universal principle that everybody accepted. Scientists came up with it, but this was long-term predicted by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And from the mothers, who can tell me one? Yeah.
Elliptical movement of the moon.
Elliptical movement of the moon. As we said, the only satellite of the earth is moon. And this moon, when it goes around the earth, it goes in an orbit form, elliptical manner. And then we have a verse in Quran. What is the verse?
10:5.
You didn't write the verse?
No, I didn't write.
Okay, yeah, that's okay, Mama. And now another one who can tell me. The expansion. You know, the world is expanded every day. And there was a scientist who predicted that and first discovered it. But Quran already predicted long time, many years during the time of Rasulullah, that the world is expanding, expanding, expanding. Now let's go to the fourth one, which is also another scientific miracle of glorious Quran. Coupleness in the world of plants. You see these plants that we have, flowers, whatever, they are male and female. So coupleness in the world of the planet. You see this one, it was discovered by one Swedish scientist. let's just write this note. Swedish biologist who is called Carolus Linnaeus, who is known in the world of botany as the prince of botanists. See? The prince of botanists. Who died? He died in 1778. Was the first to discover what is commonly accepted today. Commonly accepted today that there is gender in plants. Take every plant, there is male, there is female. And he predicted it many years, or he discovered it many years ago. Today is commonly accepted. There is no one who doesn't accept that there is gender in everything, including plants. We have a male, we have female. You know what he did? He grouped all the plants into male and female structures. In his book known as Species Planetarium. That's his book. He grouped them in that book. These are males and these are females. Now this is what he predicted, or he discovered as a scientist. Now we as Muslims who claim that Quran serves as a guide, let's go to Quran and find out. As I mentioned last week, our guide and criteria is Quran. Whatever you hear, you compare it to Quran. If Quran approves it, you take it. If Quran doesn't approve it, you throw it away. Now when you go to Quran, Quran also speaks about it. Number 1 verse is Quran 13 verse 3. And also Quran 31 verse 10. Now you write, when you finish writing, we look at Quran. Quran 13 verse 3 and Quran 31 verse 10 is talking about the same thing. So he predicted in animals, in what we have coupleness. You have a male, you have female. When the male plant meets female plant, you get another new plant. It's true. He mentioned it when he discovered it. Everybody was so astonished that this is a new thing in the world. When glorious Quran, during the lifetime of beloved Prophet, also predicted it and said it. It's just that this is something we don't pay attention, you see. That's why we don't know. We just read the Quran, ooh, we go and come. But now if you can pay attention to Quran, you realize. So now, one should go through this verse, 13 verse 3. If you have Quran, Quran 13 verse 3. What does it say? Bismillah.
And fruit of every kind he made in pairs, 2 and 2.
You see, it's just clear. Fruit, Allah even used the word fruit in pairs, just 2 and 2. So it's clear. But this guy, that time we were not alive. But the first time we got to know this thing, we got to know it through scientists. We did not know it from Quran first. You got so astonished. Ya Allah, this is something amazing. Whereas the Quran that you have it in your house already said it a long time. Now let's go. Someone go through the second verse. Quran 31 verse 10. Quran 31 verse 10. What does it say? Who can read for me? Someone read for me. What does Quran 31 verse 10 says?
Created the heavens and have pillars, as you see them, and put mountains upon the earth, lest it might converge with you. And he spread in it animals of every kind, and he sent down water from the cloud, then caused to grow the rain, vegetation of every noble kind.
Yeah. Vegetation of
Every noble kind.
every noble kind.
In pairs.
In pairs. There is in pairs there.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, some translators don't, but this one there is in pairs there. Vegetations of every kind in pairs. Now I'm going to give you homework before we go to the next lesson. There are a lot of scientific miracles of Quran. I want to next week everybody bring one to me, which conforms with the teachings of Quran. Just one. There are a lot. I just gave you a few examples. So next week, each person I expect one scientific miracle of Quran, which of course conforms with the teachings of Quran. Now our next lesson is a very, very important lesson. It's abrogation, which they call in Arabic naskh in Quran. Abrogation in Quran. Very important science of Quran. We begin by going straight to one verse of Quran that talks about the abrogation of Quran. In Arabic they call it naskh. Naskh. So sometimes you see they write naskhun. Naskhun. Naskh means abrogation. Is when you look at Quran 16 verse 101. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says, when we substitute one verse or one ayah to another, Allah is the one who knows best the way he arranged it, means Quran in stages. And then continue the verse. Now this verse is talking about the abrogation in Quran. Now sometimes Allah will substitute a verse, but will explain the philosophy of it. Allah will substitute a verse for another verse due to certain reason. Now let's start with our explanation. What is abrogation in Quran? Because some people come forward and say, no, abrogation, this means that there's a problem in Quran. Na'uz billah. That's why Allah abrogating a verse. Why can't Allah leave it the way it is and is abrogating? It means there's a problem in Quran. There's a contradiction in Quran. There is no any contradiction. Why abrogation? You know, we said abrogation or substitution of one rule to another or for another rule is inevitable. In a transmitting society which is developing from the lower level of humanity to the higher level. Every society that is growing needs some sort of abrogation, because it has to be done from one phase to another. You cannot come, you want to change people overnight, you want to bring everything to them to change. They will never change. It has to go from one point to another. Your aim is that highest, but now you cannot start the highest. If you start with the highest one, everybody will run away and leave you, and then you lose the essence of whatever you want to do. So therefore they said abrogation or substitution of one rule to another is inevitable in a transmitting society, because the society is transmitting from one point to another. Therefore we said the reason being, okay, reason being sudden transmission bring about side effects to individual and society. Because you have to bring it once and for all. You bring all the law. The aim of Allah, everybody must be a believer. No need for any studies, long time to be a believer. You must just receive this Quran, learn Quran, just be a believer. Who will be a believer? Everybody will run away. You are building the society. It's like you are a leader of a community. If you want to change the community, you cannot expect everybody to change overnight. You need to put programs in place, and each program is complementing the other. After this program, the next program is there. After this program, the next program is there, until you reach your final destination. So the same thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his aim is to guide every one of us. But for him to guide us, he knows as human beings, he has to take us from one phase to another. One phase to another. Especially Allah and Rasulullah found people, they are engrossed in a certain culture, and they love that certain culture, and the culture is so dear to them in their heart. For you to change them, you cannot say Yalla is kufr, it's shirk, everybody must stop. Nobody will stop. In fact, they will become enemies to your teachings. How do you take people away? Even your children, you take them from one point to another, step by step. Therefore it is said in the Ulum al-Quran that it is inevitable in every transmitting society, because the society want to transmit from one point to another. So you take it slowly, then when you bring the new one, the old one goes there, and the new one takes its place. When another one comes, it goes away, and then this one takes place. At the end of the day, you are building. By the time you finish your building, you realize that this is the end product that you are expecting. That is why they said gradual evolution. This is in Ulum al-Quran, the science of Quran. Gradual evolution is a natural phenomenon in the universe. It's a natural thing. Everything is gradual. House is not built overnight. You have to put your foundation. You have to put that. So that's what they said in Ulum al-Quran. It's a natural phenomenon in the universe. Hence, or therefore, gradual transmission in changing individual and society, this is to all of us, and society is the best mode of preaching. This is just, in short, the meaning of what abrogation is all about. It's the best mode of preaching. You have your daughter, you have a son, he doesn't listen. It's not okay with his religious. You cannot bring the son, you scold him, you lash him. You just want the son to change overnight. It will not happen. After, no, this is not okay. At least today perform your salah. Even if you go there, but perform your salah. The next day you come, because you realize that the salah is working now. At least if you don't go there, it's like this. So gradually, by the time the child is realizing, you are building him as a human being and as a person. But if you want to do it once, it's not going to happen. And you will squash everything and you will destroy everything. Therefore, the science of abrogation in Quran is because of the way we are human beings. When Prophet ﷺ was sent with this message, he found the Arabs in a different background, in a different culture. For him to change them, he had to go to them slowly, slowly, as I'm going to demonstrate some few examples here. Prophet took them from one phase to another, until they got used to the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A prophet had come and said, Ya Allah, Arabs, stop all that you are doing. Break all the idols. Oh, I was going to join Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Nobody is going to join him. Because they used to think that this thing that we were worshipping, they are holy to us. So Prophet had to come to them in a very... That is why we look at the first one. The best example of abrogation in Quran is the changing of Qibla. See, from Jerusalem to Baytul Lahi al-Haram in Mecca, or Mecca as they spell, in Mecca. That's the first one. Now you realize that Muslims were facing Palestine. But the aim of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was for them to face where? Baytul Haram. So now when Rasulullah came in Makkah, everything, until he arrived in Madinatul Munawwar. And when he arrived in Medina, it did not happen overnight. It did not happen after 1 year. It took place after 2 years. 2 years of his stay in the holy city of Medina. 2 good years. Allah would have told Prophet ﷺ, Yalla, change the Qibla. Whoever want to follow, follow. Who doesn't want to follow, Yalla, is his own problem. But Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, Prophet arrived. Juma, as I mentioned, Masjid Quba, Salat, everything. After 2 years, when they were busy in Masjid Qiblatain, those of you who have been to Saudi Arabia, Qiblatain, now Allah revealed them. Check Quran 2 verse 144. Check Quran. Then Allah decided to change it. And they say, even with all this procedure, some became kuffar on that day. Because they said, Muhammad, why always you want to direct everything towards Makkah? Because you are Arab from Makkah. We don't like it. Said, why are you changing Muhammad? You cannot change. With all this process, after how many years of the revelation, after how many years of prophethood, still there were people who had that thing in their heart to say, no, you want to make everything Saudi Arabia, everything Makkah. 2 years. Now someone go through this verse for me. Quran 2, that is Baqarah, verse 144. What does Allah say?
We see the turning of your face for guidance to the heavens. Now we shall turn you to a Qibla that shall please you. Turn then your face in the direction of the sacred mosque. Wherever you are, turn your faces in that direction. The people of the book know well that this is the truth from their Lord.
This is the truth from the Allah. That is, Allah changed it. And this verse was revealed in Masjidu Qiblatain. Because the Riwayah said they were busy performing Salah in that holy mosque. Now let's go to the next example, which is very important to me. Thus we're going to do a little bit of work on that before we close. The second example is the prohibition of wine or alcohol. See, prohibition of wine and alcohol through gradual process. That's one of the second example. Is a very common example. How Allah prohibited the drinking of wine. And you know how? Now when you look at the Arabs before the coming of our Prophet, before the coming of our Prophet, you know, wine drinking was commonly prevailed in the pre-Islamic era to such an extent that the love of an Arab was in wine, poetry, and fighting. That was during Jahiliyyah. They were known for this. They could fight you, they could push you, and they used to drink a lot during the time of Jahiliyyah. They would drink a lot of wine. And of course, poets, we mentioned that they were very powerful in their Arabic language. So they would drink and they would give those powerful poems of Jahiliyyah about love, about many things. So what did Islam do? Islam gradually eradicated these vicious habits among Muslims. But how it did is the most important for me. By gradual process. By through 4 stages. Allah took 4 stages to tell everybody that wine drinking is not allowed. It's amazing. And these 4 stages, the 4 stages took a period of 15 years to change them. So look, the 4 stages took a period of 15 years, Ya Allah. But today we don't have sabr in changing people. We want to see that is happening overnight. If it doesn't happen, we all get discouraged, we get demotivated, everybody go his way. But look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah can make kun fayakun wallahi. Be and it is. Allah can decide to make everybody believer if he want to do, isn't it? Yeah. But because of his love for us, he doesn't want to push us, he wants us to exercise our free will. But Rasulullah found them, they were immense in the love. Or with the love, it means for an Arab to love you that time, you should be a wine drinker. Or you should be someone who is very powerful in poems. Or you should be someone who is a fighter. Which house is he coming from? It is the house where they were serving a lot of wine. It is the house where they were able to fight, they were warriors. Or they were powerful in poems. That is Jahiliyyah. But Islam, alhamdulillah, came and changed. So now Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, when he sent our beloved Prophet with the wisdom, Allah wanted to change them. But he took them from one point to another. Now we're going to look at those stages. Together we're going to look at those stages and you see the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how Allah really is teaching all of us. 4 stages. Now the 4 stages. The fourth stage. Number one stage, first stage. I'm just going to give you a verse of Quran, and then someone will decide it. Then after that, I'll give you homework on that also. It's Quran 16 verse 67. The first stage is this verse. Quran 16 verse 67. You open and recite for me.
And from the fruit of the date palm and the wine you get.
Mama, if you can loud.
And from the fruit of the date palm and the wine you get a wholesome drink and food. Behold, in this also is a sign for those who are wise.
You see, in this a sign for those who are wise. Because they are making those wine from those fruits. But the homework I'm going to give you is that you go look at these verses and write something out of them from your own. So first, Allah is not telling them it's haram, don't go, don't eat. No. Said, yeah, you're making this out of this fruit. But in this there are signs for those who reflect. Allah is trying to bring them back to their senses. It's not telling them it's haram. Now look at the second stage. Second stage is Quran 2 verse 219. Open for me and recite. Quran 2 verse 219. That is Baqarah. What does Allah say?
They ask you concerning wine and gambling, say in them is a great sin and some profit for man. But the sin is greater than the profit.
Excellent. Allah is not saying it's haram. Yeah, look at the wisdom Allah is trying to teach us. Allah is not saying it's haram. They ask you, tell them, yes, there is profit in it. And there is also sin in it. But the sin is greater than the profit. Not saying haram, yalla, don't do haram. No. But Allah is clicking their mind. In the beginning, look, you can reflect in this thing, huh? Because you are making your wine out of it. Second phase, no. Yes, you drink, no problem, kidogo. But you know that you have a little bit of benefit, which we don't deny. Alcohol, there is benefit, isn't it? But the harm of alcohol is more than the benefit of alcohol. What Allah is trying to tell them? He's trying to tell them, try to stay away from it. Now let's go to the third verse. Third stage is Quran 4 verse 43. Open Quran 4 verse 43. And look at how Allah is addressing these people. Quran 4 verse 43.
O you who believe, O you who believe, do not approach prayers with the mind before until you can understand all that you say, nor in a state of ceremonial impurity.
لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى حتى تعلموا ما تقولون. Allah is not telling them it's haram, don't drink, no. But when you go for namaz, don't go for namaz while you are drunk. Simple. Allah said, don't drink before you go. No. But look at the uslub. Don't go for namaz until you know what you are saying, because they used to go for namaz and they will be mentioning some unnecessary issues in namaz. Some even would lead namaz even after all these verses of Quran. And they will turn and ask people, can I add another verses for you? Because they were too much intoxicated. Now look at the last verse, how Allah sealed it. Fourth stage. Say Quran 5 verse 90. Check it. Quran 5 verse 90 is the final stage. Someone read for me. See how Allah kusha moneno. Allah finish everything. What does Allah say?
O you who believe,
Intoxicants and games of chance and sacrificing to stones, set up and dividing by arrows are only an uncleanness. The shaitan's work, shun it, therefore, that you may be successful.
shun it, stay away from it. إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه. Allah said, stay away from it. So now you tell me, if me, you, all of us, we adopt such a strategy in our lives, we'll be able to change the world. You just need sabr. Change doesn't come overnight. Look, this is the first verse. This one comes, it abrogates this one. This one comes, it abrogates this one. This one comes, it abrogates. Abrogation doesn't mean that the verse is invalid. We shouldn't make that mistake. The verse is still valid. Today I go to a place where alcohol is rampant and I want to change these people. I can adapt this strategy in changing there. Because there are many people who say, no, abrogation is invalid. The verse is not. No. Every single verse in Quran is existing. So if I come, I want to change them, I use it. But now it's teaching us how Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala abrogated it when He gave it to Prophet to change those Quraysh who used to drink alcohol. We have a riwayah from the second Khalifa where he said, out of all the prohibition, the most difficult one was the prohibition of intoxicants. Because they were too much engrossed in it. That is why Allah took 15 years to remove these people out of it. So now what is the homework I'm going to give you in addition to the first one? You just work on these 4 stages. Look at the first one, second one, third one, and fourth one. And you write me some piece of essays here, how you understand, from your own perspective. Not too long essay. Take the first verse, what do you understand? Second verse, what do you understand? Third verse, what do you understand? And fourth verse, what do you understand? And inshallah, next week, we're going to also go through one very important, the ambiguous verses and the clear verses of Quran. Because they are all in line of these things. Some say that all verses in Quran are ambiguous, which we don't believe in that, although. But definitely there are some verses which are ambiguous in Quran. And there are verses that are very clear. Some call it fundamental verses. Fundamental means clear verses of Quran. So next week, inshallah, we'll look at those verses also. And then last assignment, so I'm giving a lot of assignment today. Find out from Quran, is there any other verse that was abrogated or not? 3 assignments I give you. Is there any other verse that was abrogated, or these are the enough? Mind you, we don't have a lot of verses that are abrogated. We have some difference of opinion between us and the other schools of thought. Some added some other verses. But I know if you read your research, even on internet, you will see some of them. So now you get me 1 verse only that are abrogated. Don't write anything, just get the verse, and then you say this verse was abrogated, and that verse was used to abrogate that particular verse of glorious Quran. Any question? If you have a question, you ask. If you don't have a question, we recite Fatiha for Kulli Magumi. Yes, Habibi.
How do you tell which verse abrogated the other one? Like, if we don't know the order of revelation,
you have to know.
If you see the verses, you are getting one from the 16th surah, then from the 2nd surah.
Yeah, then you have to know.
So,
the only way to know if a verse is abrogated or not is to be clued up with Quran a little bit. History of Quran, revelation a little bit, you know, you are able to know. But today, the commentators, they make it easy. As you read in, it will tell you, this verse was abrogated and the other verse is that side. So definitely for you to be able to know this verse abrogated, you need to read Quran a lot. You need to read Quran a lot. And then you will know. Yes, there are signs which ulama give, but those signs are not all that strong because we don't have a lot of abrogated verses in Quran. Especially from the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. They are quite harmful few. Very few verses are abrogated in Quran. They are not too much. They are not like the ambiguous verses and the clear verses of Quran. So that's why I give you the homework.
Yeah, 3 fish.
You you try, get me one abrogated miskin verse of Quran. Yes, any other question? No question. You see now, as we're moving now, slowly, inshallah, we're going to start the tafsir. Maybe some few, 2, 3, 4 lessons, if I'm not mistaken, which I want you to know. Like for instance, the ambiguous, we will do inshallah. After that, also we'll look at a little bit of comparison between Quran and Bible. And then after that, we'll look at what is the role of hadith in Quran. Very briefly, role of traditions of Prophet in Quran. Does it play a role in interpreting Quran or not? Once we finish with that, then we enter into tafsir of Quran. So you must take note of all these things. These are very, very important for a Muslim who believe in Quran to know them. So many times Muslims, they carry Quran, but they don't know Quran. You ask him, what is ambiguity in Quran? Say, me, I'm not a Maulana. This is not for Maulana. You ask him, what is abrogation in Quran? I said, no, I don't know. I heard them talking about it, but me, I don't know what is abrogation. But at least if you study, you get to know. What is the philosophy of it? It's a stage that Allah used to direct people and guide people, so that they don't find it all of a sudden coming to them, which they are not used to read. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.